Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's news leader.
A powerful spring blizzard that's crippling parts of the plains and upper Midwest has turned deadly. I'm Laura Podesta. We'll show you where the snow came down the hardest and where it's expected to continue to fall.
The EPA has released its proposed changes to clean up Butte. I'm Adair Babb, and later on I'll let you know what the public thinks.
Just ahead of 6:30 on this Friday, Chet Lehman, Missy O'Malley with you here as the snowflakes continue to fall.
It's like a perfect snow globe right now.
It's beautiful out there right now.
Big fat flakes.
It is beautiful, and hopefully they'll be gone. Matt will have our forecast in a moment about all of that. Right now, weather topping this half hour. The severe winter-like storm that swept over 6 states this week being now blamed for at least 1 death.
An airline mechanic was killed on Wednesday night when his pickup truck hit a snowplow at Denver International Airport. The blizzard is still lingering over parts of the upper Midwest, dropping record snowfall in some places. CBS's Laura Podesta has our latest.
Midwesterners are doing their best to keep up with the sprawling spring blizzard.
We just put a Band-Aid here and a Band-Aid there and keep working it.
I guess I didn't think that we were really going to get this much here in April.
Thunder snow in Wisconsin and Minnesota highlighted the storm's unusual strength.
Kind of weird when it's snowing.
Daily snowfall records were made throughout the region.
The 70 degrees earlier this week was much more enjoyable than this.
More than 2 feet of snow blanketed parts of South Dakota. Whiteout conditions forced officials to close Interstate 90 between Rapid City and Sioux Falls.
Wow.
But ice and wind caused the most damage, knocking out power lines faster than workers could repair them.
They've been busy because as soon as you get something fixed, something else pops up.
Just over the border in southwest Minnesota, this icy road was too much for one state trooper. Further north, Art's Dairy Freeze is still standing.
Our motto is, it's never too cold for ice cream.
The snow shut them down Thursday, but they'll be serving ice cream today for whoever wants it. The forecast is calling for a high temperature of just 32 degrees. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Wow. Now, elsewhere in the country, Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas are in line for possible severe weather this weekend. Damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes are all possible.
32 degrees, the perfect weather to eat that ice cream.
Absolutely.
It won't melt.
Why
not? It's perfect.
Absolutely.
It's perfect ice cream weather. I'm going to go get some.
Go get some.
You just have to step outside.
I just got to wait a few minutes right now.
Yeah.
Pretty decent snow falling here at the studio. We're going to see off and on snow. I do expect there to be slick conditions. I've said that since the beginning of the show.
Not like that guy at the truck there on that clip of video, but still.
That was
the wind
impressive.
just perfectly pushing
I know,
across.
But could be slick out there.
It could be, and we're really looking at the overpasses, passes, bridge decks, that type of thing. Really the big issues for the morning. So just leave a little extra time for the early part of the day. Temperature's perfect for those big fluffy flakes that are flying through our skies. Wow, I put a lot of F's in there.
You did.
Looks like we're going to be dealing with a few spotty showers through the day today. Wintry mix at times. Temperatures should be around the 40-degree mark by the time you head into the afternoon. A little drier weekend ahead, at least in part. We'll break it all down for you in just a few minutes.
Fabulous.
6:32 now. The Environmental Protection Agency has released a proposed change to the Superfund cleanup in Butte.
Yeah, the EPA is currently negotiating the cleanup plan with the state, Butte, Silver Bow County, and ARCO BP. The proposal asks that basins are created to store contaminated water coming off of Butte Hill, that waste be removed from Silver Bow and Blacktail Creek, and that soil be tested for metal levels, and that Silver Bow Creek be directed away from the Slag Canyon. But even with these changes, EPA Remedial Project Manager Nakia Green says the stormwater levels won't meet the current standard placed in 2006.
Can we get there? Can we meet those standards? And the unfortunate thing is we can do everything that's practicable, right? And we still won't get there.
Now, Green says even though the EPA is making sure Butte will be cleaned up, it's virtually impossible. And that's where the last proposed change comes in.
Yeah, this change would waive the state's stormwater standard for zinc and copper and instead follow the national standard. But before these changes take effect, the public gets to have its say. MTN's Medeiros Babb finds out what some of those residents think of this new plan.
Now that the EPA has proposed its changes for the Butte Superfund cleanup, the public has 60 days to comment. I talked with local citizens and county officials who all had different opinions on the matter.
Well, my initial thoughts are finally we're getting somewhere, and after 30 years of being listed as a Superfund site, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
It's the first step to defining what that work is for the future and how we can enforce that to be completed and to make possible everything that is possible here in Butte.
We think that this is probably a good thing and to move us forward to get past Superfund and get a consent decree and move forward as a community.
Butte is a mining community. It's a highly mineralized area. It is quite possible that these standards would have never been able to be met just due to the natural mineralization of the hill.
I'm offended by that. I'm offended. I mean, I think that Butte deserves and needs the best cleanup possible, and to give us a cleanup where the only way that the EPA and the state and the local government can solve the problem is by reducing the discharge standards of the water to the creek, and that's just wrong.
You know, we went into this negotiations with three things in mind: protect the taxpayers, protect the environment, and protect the human health. And we have met all three of those requirements. So I think that the negotiating team is doing a good job, and I think Butte people should be happy with what's coming out of it.
Reporting from Butte, Medeiros Babb, MTN News.
Now, Medeiros tells us the Environmental Protection Agency will be holding public comment sessions on April 23rd, then again on May 23rd, and both of those will be at Montana Tech.
In other news, the bill to continue Montana's Medicaid expansion program hit a roadblock yesterday in the state Senate.
And supporters may not have much time to repair the damage and get it back on track. MTN's Mike Dennison was there and explains what happened and what could be next.
A close vote was expected Thursday in the Senate on the bill reauthorizing Medicaid expansion, which provides government-funded health care for 96,000 low-income adults in Montana. And it didn't disappoint in that regard. It went down on a 25-25 tie, with all 25 no votes coming from Republicans. GOP opponents, including Senate President Scott Sales of Bozeman, said it's time to say no to programs that are bankrupting the country.
We talk a lot about future generations and investments in future generations, and this is going to be good for our kids, and this is going to be good for our grandkids. And I'm going to tell you what, this runaway spending that this bill promotes isn't good for those future generations. It's good for this generation. And to hell with the people that are going to pay the bill, which are my kids and my grandkids, and yours too.
Republican Senator Dee Brown, another opponent, spent more than 6 minutes reading off a list of payments to Montana hospitals for Medicaid expansion, $1.34 billion over the past 2 years.
I don't think that Medicaid expansion is about the health of Montanans. I think it's about the money going to hospitals.
Yet the bill isn't necessarily dead. Several Republicans who voted no have supported Medicaid expansion in the past. And earlier this week, some of them indicated they're withholding their vote until knowing whether an unrelated proposal will advance, the bill to help Northwestern Energy buy part of a Colstrip power plant and transmission line. Supporters of the Medicaid bill have until Friday to ask the Senate to reconsider Thursday's vote, and said that's what they intend to do. They also said the state can't afford to say no to Medicaid expansion, for it's done more than its share of good in the state since beginning in 2016.
This is going to help people go back to work. It's going to make people healthy again. It's going to get them off their addictions and able to once again function in society.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now, Medicaid expansion is a $700 million a year program with 90% of that money coming from the federal government.
Happy Friday to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. We're so glad you're along for the ride. Up next, after a quick break,